How to beat Plymouth Argyle is what our main topic is this week. We're sick of international football. Bring us to Friday night football at Home Park. We've got our Watford lads back and also talking about XP. And according to XP, are Watford under or overperforming? We're looking back at the summer transfer window and getting our final grading on it before the window opens again this January. And which Championship managers do we currently rate? We've got Aaron, Rio and Luke back with us. Aaron, you missing out on the Plymouth trip, or are you making the Friday night trek to Home Park?
Missing out, I'm afraid. I mean, look, I live further north than Watford. I finish work at 5. It's not even doable. If I had the fastest car possible, I would not make it to Home Park for the game. So it's a no from me.
All right. Obviously, the neutral here says last time you were away from home, you scored 6 up in Sheffield. So you're playing a Wayne Rooney Plymouth side that are garbage, Rio. So what's this going to be? 8, 9?
I was actually looking at a few stats the other day. I think Plymouth are 8th in the league for home form, so that's where they pick up most of their points. I don't think Plymouth are as bad at home as on the road. We saw that a few weeks ago, Friday night football. They beat Luton 3-1, even though I'd like to say hopefully we do better than Luton. I don't think it's going to be an easy game at all, obviously. We're not very good on the road because we followed up a 6-2 win against Sheffield Wednesday for a 1-0 loss against Swansea, which is one of the most Watford things I've ever seen. It'll be a tough game. I'm hoping from the next 3 games, maybe 6 or 7 points. I'd honestly take a point at Plymouth and move on and keep on that unbeaten run at home and get 4 or 6 points against Bristol City and QPR.
Okay. If you haven't yet subscribed to us, please do so. We know you probably watch tons and tons of Watford content, but this is 10-15 minutes every single week, reviewing every single game of the 46. Drop us a subscribe there. Luke, as a neutral, I don't care about England versus Greece. I much actually watch Plymouth Watford, even as a neutral. Tell us which team, though, you'd start against Wayne Rooney as he comes back into contact with his old mate Cleverley. This was the team that started, of course, in your last outing against Oxford, which must feel like a lifetime ago for you. What would you do here?
I would hopefully have a more of a solid midfield. I believe Sissoko is back from his suspension. I believe that is free up, isn't it? I believe. Yeah, it is, right. Yeah, I would bring Sissoko back in for Kayembe. I would keep Loser just on the back of how well he played the other day. And my other change would probably be for Eboseli over to the right and Andrews drops out for Larucci. I've been really liking Eboseli at the moment, but it depends how he does throughout the international break as well. And then Ogbonna, I'd bring him back in as well. I believe he will be fit. I'm not entirely sure. But I'd bring him in for Morrison. I'd be pretty pleased with that team. And I think that'd be a team that I reckon could get a result 100%. I think on the back of the Sheffield Wednesday result and also the Oxford game, it is just that thing of momentum. We should really fancy ourselves against Plymouth, even if they are 7th or 8th in the home table. We should really fancy ourselves to get something. And also another Friday night game as well. I think we'll win 2-1, I believe.
Oh, good shout. Aaron, do you disagree with anything there, or you want to be a little bit more pragmatic?
I'd most of the same, but a couple different changes. I would absolutely bring Ogbonna back if he's fit, but I'd sub him out for Porteous. I'd move Pollock across and put Ogbonna back in the middle. I'd also keep Imran Loser. If he's going to play like that, then he has to start. I don't think Tom Denny's going to be fit enough to play again. Sissoko is back. The midfield's still a bit of an issue for us. We can't seem to get the best 2. So I'd leave Loser in after a good performance. I'd probably put Sissoko next to him and see how that goes. As for the wing-backs, I'd leave it as it is. I wouldn't play Larucci. I actually think he was the one negative from the Oxford game. I thought he'd come on and Oxford suddenly looked like they might have a chance again. So, that's what I'd do.
Okay. Rio, any differences?
Yeah, personally, I actually like Eboseli and Andrews as our wing-backs, although obviously Eboseli's better on the right. I don't really rate Larucci. I think it's not great going defensively, and Eboseli just has that more pace and power going forward, which I think helps us. And yeah, I'd like to see Tom Denny back, but there hasn't really been much word on whether he's fit or how long the time to go with injury is. Soko's back and Kayembe is really not an 8. He should play further forward, if anything. So I'd like to see Sissoko slot back in that centre mid. Don't think or know Bonner's fit. They said 6 to 8 weeks. So I like James Morris as left centre back. So probably keep the 3 centre backs as it is, and obviously can't really drop Bio with the form he's on at the moment.
Okay. All right. Cheers for that. Drop us your views in the comments below. Opta have produced in the last week or so some stats on XP, which is expected points versus actual points. And if we were to line up all the teams in the order of their expected points on the games up to this weekend, does it surprise you that Watford would sit below mid-table? You massively overachieved in terms of what you should have got. 22 points, or it's 6 points over what you should have got. Aaron, does that? I know you in terms of stats, you can look at it one or two ways, but does that picture match what you've been seeing in games? That actually, teams when teams had good chances against you, they haven't taken them, and when you've had your chances, you've certainly made the best of them.
Yeah, to some extent, but I would say I think with expected points for us, I'm not surprised at all to see us that low, and it is mainly the away form. We concede and lose so much away, and even the points we have got away, we've not put in good performances. For example, Millwall on the first day of the season was a bit of a smash and grab, and I think that is why that differential. I think it often maybe produced a home one and an away one, you'd probably see us much higher, just as you do in the away and home form table. Obviously, with expected points, it's just sort of taking those XG totals, and I can think of games where teams have missed some pretty big chances. The draw against Coventry, for example, where they missed 2 pretty big chances. Oxford obviously had that late chance on Friday. So, yeah, I think we have had a bit of good fortune with teams not taking chances, but I think our away form is the big issue, and I think we've been so lucky that our home form sort of made up for it.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Good shouts. Now it's nearly Christmas time. The tints will be going up shortly, I'm sure, in all your houses. So we'll be talking about January transfer window pretty much when we come back. But before we do that, I've got to ask you for the final time for your final grading on this summer one, because last time we asked you, you were all like, oh, well, we've not seen all the players yet, so we can't really make a decision. So this is it. Last chance now to give us your final grading, given what you've seen in strength and depth. Luke, out of 10, how well did the Watford recruitment team do for your football club?
I'm trying to remember what I put, but I remember it was very negative. I think I might have
was
3 or 4. It was really low. And based on how the season's been so far, I'm going to have to give it. I might have to even double it. I might have to go 7 or 8 because it's worked. At the end of the day, I think we were like 18th or 19th in the table of like transfer money spent or net spend. And look at us, we're in the league. I think Clevy's done a great job with what we've been working with. But it also is one of those sort of, the other side of the table is that if we had the back in, where would we be now? And that, I think that is good though, because when we go to Jan, we'll look at, the Pozzo should be back in Cleverley, doing well. No reason why the money should be put in then. My only concern of how the transfer window was in terms of the outgoings was Ryovic going. I know we've got Bayer who's doing great things for us, but it is just that one injury could really affect our season. I think I say this once a week now. I really don't feel confident with Jefferson. But if we have to play Jefferson, that could be like the be or end all of our season. We could really fall down a slope if Bayer's out for 2 or 3 months. Which at the start of the season, if you told me that Bayo's going to be injured for 2-3 months and we're going to be panicking about it, I would have laughed at you. That's my only concern. I wish we kept Ryovic because just of that striker depth, because if Bayo goes, I don't know what will happen. But I really actually hope we do recall him if possible, because he's flying at the moment where he's at. But yeah, an 8 from a 3 or 4 at the start of the season. So very pleased. Good on the Pozzos, I guess, for once.
Very good. Right. That's the biggest jump we've ever had when we've asked these questions. Aaron, you were very negative last time we asked you this question. Where are you now?
Slightly lower than Luke. I'm going to say 6. And the reasons are, I think Ebosele is a massive hit. I think if he stays fit, he's going to be in the starting 11 for the rest of the season, or he should be. Ogbonna's a massive hit. Again, if you keep him fit, that's an innocent bonus to our back line. But the way I see it is, yes, we're in a great position. Cleverley's done an amazing job, but I just see it as a missed opportunity that another midfielder and another striker weren't brought in. Like Luke says with injuries, we are just a few injuries away from being a much worse football team, particularly if we got a long-term injury to Chapatadze. I remember he went down with that back injury, and I just thought, oh my goodness, the season might be over. Because although we've been critical of how Chapatadze should have more goals and assists, which he should, I think if you go and put every Watford goal in a compilation and looked at how he's influenced those moments, whether it be directly or not, he's probably involved in 75% of them. So I think you need a striker, because I think that would also give Chapatadze more assists if he has someone finishing the chances. He puts them on the plate for people like Bio and Sissoko's missed a few clangers. Like, he puts them in that position. If they score them, he gets more assists, and our expected points would probably be higher as well. I just think it's a missed opportunity. They got a few good ones in, but they just should have done a little bit more. And we might even be talking about a team that's in the automatic places.
Okay. Rio, you were the most negative of all. I think when we, if I remember, my memory serves me correctly.
I thought I gave it a 6 or a 7.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go half of what Luke said, and I'm going to give it a 4. Hear me out. Personally, Eberselli is the only... Vata will come good, but Eberselli and Vata are the only signings I think have proved themselves. Bonner, 36 years old, he's class when he plays, but how often is he going to play? After a few games in the team, he picked up an injury, which he's now out for 2 months. That could easily happen again. You look at, we signed Nkulu a couple of years ago, looked class for 3 games, and he was out for the rest of the season. Jefferson, we needed a good striker. We ultimately haven't landed on one. Who else have we brought in? Larucci, I think personally there was probably better in the market. I'm really not fond of him. I think he's shown, especially those last 20 minutes for Oxford, he got ran past so easily, could have conceded a penalty, and I think he slows the attack down sometimes, and not good defensively. And Bond was a good signing as a backup, probably should be starting. Can't remember who else we signed. Bar feels like a new signing, but isn't. But I just feel we didn't get a centre mid as we were looking to on deadline day, and that could cost us because Sissoko and Tom Delhi, they're like our core. And then you've got to throw in Duomo, who played like a season in professional football in Belgium. He's doing well, but a bit of a rant here. But and obviously sending Rivich out on loan. I mean, if it was to sell him permanently and make a few million for maybe the January transfer window, fair enough. But we sold him without bringing in a replacement, which means Bayo, who's now at form all right, he's our striker. Jefferson, who can't hit a barn door, he's our second choice. And then you've got an 18-year-old in Dumbia who barely played any professional football. So, that's my rant over.
Okay, glad I asked. Good.
Sure.
I need your own. Yeah, crikey. How long do your Twitter sales go on for? They must go on for ages.
Too long.
Yeah. All right. Cheers for that. Last question then. If Tom Cleverley was to be snapped up by Southampton, for example, hypothetically, of course, which current Championship manager do you rate the highest? Luke?
I really like Carrick. I've liked him for quite a while now. I really like gaffers who keep quite a high intensity to their play. I think it has to be done in the Championship, and you've seen it from how they've been performing. They were second or third in the expected points or goals stat, and it shows how well they've been doing. But they've also always been sort of creeping and being thereabouts. And they've had some brilliant players the last few seasons as well who've gone, and it's a shame to think that if they kept him on, they would definitely be probably in the Prem now. I think this is the season they do it, and I don't think they'll do it through playoffs. I think they'll do it automatic. So I think it will be Leeds and Borough, similar to like Cleverley. I think he's probably the second best gaffer in the league, I would say. He reminds me a little bit of Kieran McKenna in terms of like in that early stage of his career, probably going to be linked to like some big sides at the end, and I hope to keep him. And it's the same with Carrick. We've got we've got quite a few good young English managers, and I'd probably put also Rob Edwards in that as well. I know he's been struggling since they came down, but to be fair, what he's done with them coming back from us is fair play. He's really good. We didn't give enough time, but yeah, mine would definitely be Carrick. I'm pleased with how he's been doing.
Okay, Aaron.
Well, the best manager in the Championship was recently sacked, so there's that one. I think it was far and away Mark Robbins. I can't believe Coventry did sack him. So that's left in the Championship. I do think this league has a really good quality of coach in many of the clubs. If you made me pick one that's still at their team, it's tough. I really like Eustace. He was one of the options I wanted at Watford when we got Valerian Ismail and then Cleverley. And I also really like a bit of a left field one because they're not doing so well, but I like John Mousinho at Portsmouth. I think they just haven't got a very talented squad, and they had a really tough opening set of fixtures, which just sort of set them back. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see them kick on after Christmas because I do think he's a really good manager.
Okay. Thank you. Rio, lastly.
Yeah, I'd actually go face us on Friday. Buckingham, I think his name is. Also, quite a few injuries at the moment, hence why they've slid down the table. But before that, they were winning all their home games, picking up a few points on the road, and I think most of us predicted them to probably come rock bottom or in that bottom three, and I think they'll stay up, and he's doing a really good job, and they play a decent brand of football when they have a fully fit squad.
Okay. Thank you very much. Of course, the rumours are around on the grapevine that Rob Edwards is the next in line for the sack. I'm sure that none of you will. Would you have any sympathies at all?
Keep him. If they're going to keep going down the slope, keep him.
Because my biggest fear is that they do sack him and they go and get Mark Robbins straight away and they just have a resurgence. That's what I'm worried about. Burnley, sack Scott Parker and get Robbins before Luton do, please.
I think there might be a few sackies. Whole City are also on the brink of getting rid of their manager as well. Right. Thank you very much, you three. It's good to be not talking about Watford sacking a manager, is it? It's usually you guys. Right. Cheers for that. Thank you very much for watching. You know what to do. Subscribe, like, and share. And we'll see you all next week on the other side of the Plymouth game. Enjoy.